You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I'm Joy Orr from Detroit, Michigan.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, August 7th, episode 3492. Good morning, horse people.
Hello, horse world. It's Wednesday, the day you start daydreaming of a weekend with your horses. We'll help you get there with more silly horse talk on Horses in the Morning.
Joy, thank you so much for joining me and co-hosting with me. Glenn's at one of his various doctor appointments that old men just have to go to, apparently. But thank you for coming on. It's like a retired racehorse radio reunion. Oh, that's 4 hours. That's good.
Oh, yeah, that should be something we do. That should be an event someday. But I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe Glenn trusted me with this show. So I don't know if he's going to regret it, but I'm here for it.
What's really exciting is now I'm going to say that if you're a boy and you're listening to this, fine, but I don't want to hear from you because it's Girl Power Day, because we've got Dr. Latcher coming on to talk about milk fever, and the Chincoteague ponies had it, and we're going to kind of get caught up on what that is. Mary Schmitt is going to talk about the controversy at the national parks. Joy is here. Jen is producing Girl Power. We got weird news. So everybody stick around. First, Daily Winnies.
I'm going to start it off with some birthdays. We have Tanya Serrero. Happy birthday to you. We also have some new auditors. Please, I'm sorry about last names. I'm going to do my best. Jocelyn Huling and Karen Reagan. So thank you for being auditors.
Oh, I feel right at home. It's like Glenn's here. First of all, Tanya Sierra, Jocelyn Howling, and Karen Reagan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And then we have some auditors who upped their pledges, which thank you so much. We love the support. It really does help us. Kayla Perry and Patty M. Otto, really appreciate everything.
Now, I have to tell a story about Patty. Her birthday was last week. She's my neighbor. And so we went and got pedicures. And I'm sure that she thought I was crazy. And what I was going for was going to be really cute. So we went and got pedicures. What's your pedi color, typically, if you're going to get your toenails painted?
Oh, I mean, I am a classic, white. I always think it looks lovely.
White? Okay, so there's white. I usually do pink because nothing about me is pink. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll just have girly toes. However, this time I decided I was going to go with a fluorescent yellow pedicure color. And I was like,
that's bold.
Yeah, but you know, it's my toes, whatever, they're my toes. I can do whatever I want. So I get this, and what I was going for was highlighter, yellow toes. This is the only stuff we can talk about in an all-girl show. The fact that I got yellow toes painted, and I had envisions of highlighter yellow. Do you know what my toes look like? It looks like I put French's mustard on the toes.
I mean,
so gross.
Mustard's a summer color, right?
Is it? I don't know.
I'm like, hot dogs, barbecues.
I literally, every time I look at my toes, I'm like, it looks like I have jaundice. There's something wrong with my skin. And so I was sitting there with Patty, and she had a nice color put on. And I'm like, I'll take this weird French's mustard yellow. And it looks gross. And so Patty, just know that I know it's weird. And I know you know it's weird, but you never said that it was weird. But I appreciate you not saying it's weird, but I do know it's weird.
If it makes you feel better, Jamie, I did the yellow nails before going to work for a commercial ad. So that is forever there. That is forever on the internet.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I really thought it'd be super cute. And then I'm like, oh, this is gross. I look gross. Anyway, my turn for Daily Winnie. All right. right, I would like to give my daily Winnie to the wonderful people who hauled Taco Tuesday. He made it to Indiana yesterday, safe and sound. It was about 12, 13 hours, and it was super cute. So when they came to pick him up, they had to unload a horse first to put him in the front because he was going to be on the trailer longer. And oh my God, they unloaded the super cutest gypsy, but like, not the crazy hairy gypsy, just like a black and white, beautiful, round, fat little gypsy. Oh my God, he was so cute. So Taco Tuesday had a companion on the way up to Indiana. It was so cute. And so he made it safe and sound. They sent me, we were texting all day with the driver, and we harassed that poor guy. And then, I'm like, and so she sent me pictures when he arrived, and I believe she posted them on Facebook as well. So congrats to Taco Tuesday. Hopefully he gets a day or two off from that long haul in this heat, but he was in good hands, and I have a hauler that just does a great job. So I'm thrilled about that. So congratulations. Now, here's the thing, Joy. I only have 4 horses right now. Okay. I have my 2 gray babies. I have the 2 5-year-olds, one Andalusian, Miles, and Ace, my off the track thoroughbred. So I have those 2. And then I've got Duke, who's 33 and retired. And then we have Maverick, who's like 20 or something. And he just basically is sound enough to walk, and he helps me start babies, but he's not really working right now. So I have 4, that's it. So Chad was like, how soon are you going to go horse shopping?
The answer is immediately.
I mean, come on. So while he had to go to the hardware store yesterday, so Lucas and I, hardware store is right next to Goodwill, and I hate walking around the hardware store with my husband. I don't care what size hose you get. I don't care. So anyway, so we go in. So Lucas and I are like, we're going to Goodwill. And I walked around Goodwill, and I found it needed me. It needed me, and I thought it would satisfy something inside me, Joy. I found a Breyer horse on the shelf. Okay. Obviously, I had to get it. But this poor thing, I couldn't leave it. I was like, I don't need it. It's just a white, like a gray Breyer horse. I don't need it. But it had like cigarette burns on its neck, and like it was $1, and it had like the price tag, like where it would be like a hip marker at an auction, like, I don't know. It was calling my name. And do I need another Breyer horse that has cigarette burns on its neck and is completely gross and dysfunction? And it was a mess. I had to have it. So I paid $1 for it. And so I got in the car, and of course he rolls his eyes. He was like, oh, thank God you bought the horse. Good. We're done.
I know, it's the cheapest horse you'll ever buy.
I know, it was $1, and I mean, it needs some help. I'm gonna have to work
Don't they
on.
all?
Yes, they all do. However, I have a friend who's like looking for a particular type of horse. The Maytag Ranch, where I ride in Colorado every summer, has tasked me with finding another horse for them. So I am traveling to Earlsboro, Oklahoma tonight. Do you know where Earlsboro is?
I gotta say, I don't.
I don't either. I don't either.
Thank gosh for Google Maps.
I know, right? He actually messaged me, and he's like, all right, you gonna want to follow this pin here, because I'm gonna have to drop a pin, because if you just map it, and I'll get you the right place. I was like,
This sounds
cool.
safe.
Yeah, right. So I'm bringing a friend. I'm not going by myself. So I'm gonna go look at some big old quarter horse for the Maytag Ranch tonight. So I'm vicariously horse shopping through other people. Does that make sense?
Best way to curb the addiction. Like, I have found brokering horses to keep me financially stable. So that, not because I make a lot of money doing it. I don't. I make almost no money, if any. But I do not buy another horse, because, and with Retired Racehorse Radio, we're partnered with New Vocations.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at these horses every time we do a show, and I'm sitting here of like, well, Zach is riding now consistently, and my horse is retired from showing. I would like to show again, and I did get a raise, and I'm trying to justify it. I'm like, no. So now I just broker, and it's like I can do the drug without committing fully to the lifestyle.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. I needed that outlet. But I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here is horse shop. But then like what happens is like, I'm like, maybe I need one. But this horse, if it were to work, fit the bill for the future of the Maytag Ranch, it will stay with me until the spring. So it'll be like it's
also
mine.
kind of fills a need too. I love when it's a training project because that also kind of it's like mine, but I know you're going somewhere else and I'm not responsible for you.
You know, it's funny. I've had a lot of people ask me if it was hard to like let Taco go yesterday. Was it sad? Was it sad? And I gotta say, like, you know, sometimes when you sell a horse, you're like, oh, I found the right home. Thank God it's a relief because I really didn't vibe with the horse, you know, like, and sometimes you feel a relief. And sometimes you're super sad. I gotta tell you, I was so happy to see him go, but not for like nefarious reasons. I was just happy because like I set out with a goal and a plan to find this pony, his like to fix him up and get him in the right place. And it was just probably one of the most satisfying equine moments that I've had was getting him there. So now I just hope they have continued success through the future. Again, fortunately, Charlie is the one who the Taco's for her, but her mom, Caitlin, is like super knowledgeable horse person, teaches lessons, like does all the things. So he's going into like a good home. They did say he was a little greener than they wanted, but if anybody can handle it, it's her. So I'm super excited for them and they're thrilled. So I got a horse shop tonight and it's kind of mine because I kind of get to keep it for a while.
I love it for you. I can't wait to hear about it.
Thank you. All right. Well, we have a special guest to do our next ad, which is our State Line Tack ad, because Jen is producing our show today, and Jen is Glenn's wife, and Glenn is gone right now. So I'm going to task you with going to statelinetack.com and do our commercial and just shop. I'm giving you carte blanche to just go to the website, tell us what you're going to buy today.
I've got money in my PayPal account and it's burning a hole.
I know.
Well, we discovered our new little property, over 2 acres. Some of the fence isn't where the fence needs to be. We had started to put up our cross fencing between our fields. So I discovered that State Line Tack carries fencing supplies.
I mean, it's like you have to have it. Duh.
Well, it's not like I have a choice. I have to buy it. So I have to go to State Line Tack. And I need to get the little wheel that goes on the bottom of your gate, because everybody in Florida has a gate on the front of their property so that the horses get loose, they can't get out. So I need the little wheel that goes on the bottom of the gate so that when you open and close it, it doesn't drag across the driveway and make that big bump. So I'm getting that. And there's those cute little, it's a little teeny tiny birdhouse or small doghouse, but you put your halters inside of it when you hang them outside the pasture so that the halters don't get drenched.
Oh my God. Or sun bleach. They have that? That is a great idea.
And it's made out of plastic. So
dang it, now I'm going to statelinetack.com.
High country plastic halter house. Because here in Florida, they get baked and then they get drenched and then they get baked and then they get drenched. So all my dually halters last about 16 months.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a great idea. And it's cute too. Like you could get like a little Snoopy and put it on top of it. Oh my God. Okay.
That's a brilliant idea.
I know. Go to Goodwill and buy yourself a little Snoopy. See, we're fixing all the world's problems today. StayLineTag.com. Thank you, Jen, very much. Now it's going to cost me money. All right. This horse health report is brought to you by Daily Dose Equine Non-GMO Core Nutrition for horses and ponies of all ages. I would like to welcome Dr. Erica Latcher of Spring Hill Equine in Newberry, Florida. And she's been on the show a million times, and I guess her connection is crazy. So she's literally standing still in the middle of a field right now to talk to us. Thank you, Dr. Latcher.
You're welcome. I like to say I am outstanding in my field. So there we go.
That was so good. You've used that one before. That was pretty good. So we are going to talk to you about milk fever because a couple listeners reached out to us on this topic because I guess during the Chickadee pony swim, some of the mares or foals, I don't know who gets it, came down with milk fever. So let's get started. Explain what milk fever is.
Milk fever is something that more commonly happens in dairy cows. But it happens because the body is rapidly moving calcium from bones into the milk, or in the case of late gestation cows or mares, moving it into the fetus, because we have to go from not having bones as a fetus when you start out to when you come out as a baby, you've got some bones. So there's a rapid movement of calcium out of the mare or the dairy cow's bones into the fetus or the milk. And the reason we say dairy cows is that's because that's where we commonly see this, and that's where we recognize the symptoms.
So if this is something so commonly found in dairy cow, or more commonly found in dairy cows, why was it on ponies on an island?
One of the reasons we think it's happening to these ponies, and there are some things that are done to mitigate the effects, is that they are late in gestation or they are heavy in milk production. And heavy milk production happens at about 3 months of age for the foal. So at that moment, they are mobilizing the most calcium. Then we take them and ask them to do massive muscle exertion by swimming across the channel. And it turns out mussels use calcium as well to get that high level of firing. So between those two things, we have a perfect storm where we really tank their calcium concentration in their blood. And so we see these hypocalcemic horses or milk fever in that scenario.
Now, so does the mare get milk fever or the baby get milk fever?
The mares get the milk fever. We do see some syndromes of it in very young foals. It's a little bit different in that scenario, and it's just that they don't have the stores available to them, period, right? Like there's a limited amount of storage capacity when you're a very young foal and you haven't had the chance to kind of fill the tank, but it's much more common in the late gestation mares. And
so, Dr. Latcher, what are some symptoms and treatments for milk fever?
Well, the symptoms are that these guys sort of rapidly lose steam, so you'll see them doing okay with their exertion, and then all of a sudden they are just not able to keep up with the herd. They're losing ground quickly. If they're on solid ground, then most of them will go down and they can't stand up. They have extreme muscle weakness. The good news is the treatment is really easy. We hook them up to an IV of calcium. It's readily available because this is so common in dairy cows. And the veterinarians get to look like heroes because it is darn near miraculous.
Oh, wow.
You hook that IV up and they're like, boom, ready to go. Let's swim across the channel the other way.
Wow. Now, it sounds great, except for these are wild horses. So might be a little more challenging for the veterinarian, but that's cool. So it's like when I had a horse go into respiratory distress and I was on the phone with my vet. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? She was like, if only you had some, what's the word, steroid to give him. And I was like, I have that. And I gave it to him and boom, instantly he was better. So yeah, it's like that kind of thing.
Yes. And, there is the challenge of them being wild, but with proper chute systems, we can generally get it done. And one of the things that they've done with the Chincoteague ponies, because they've recognized this, is that they try to target who doesn't swim so that they avoid it.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much. I know we're having some connection problems, so I'm going to let you go a few minutes early so you can get back in the office and get your work done, doctor. I mean, you own your own practice. You have numbers to crunch right now. But
Yay,
thanks for coming on and discussing it with us, and we will talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Connection issues, we're going to fix that up next time because, like I said, she's like a professional podcaster, and you can find her podcast, which are super interesting. It's called Straight from the Horse Doctor's Mouth, anywhere you can find a podcast. And again, it's Spring Hill Equine, and it's her own practice. She is just like the coolest chick ever. So you guys check that podcast out.
Most people don't read the ingredient tags on horse feed products, so they don't realize they're feeding ultra-processed ingredients in a pellet. Daily Dose Equine offers a full line of handcrafted, non-GMO real food horse feeds and balancers to maximize the health, energy, and performance of horses and ponies of all ages. Daily Dose Equine helps you bring the best life to your horse. Daily Dose Equine feeds can be purchased nationwide at Tractor Supply and online at Chewy.com. Want to learn more about how Daily Dose Equine feeds can help your horse or pony? Head on over to dailydoseequine.com and drop Janet an email or give her a call. That's dailydoseequine.com.
Our next guest is one of my friends, Mary Schmitt of Jackson, Wyoming. Mary has come to my clinic and we've worked with horses in Jackson, Wyoming together, like at the base of the Teton Mountains. And from what I understand, there's a kind of controversy going on at the national parks with the horses. First of all, hi, Mary.
Hi.
I'm so glad you were able to join us. Now, I'm going to let Joy take over and I'm going to sit back and listen because I don't know anything about this.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. I know I don't know much about this either. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about what is going on at the national parks.
Well, it's really subtle, and you wouldn't notice it unless you have lived here for a long time. The people who use the parks seem to love the horses for the most part. We get nothing but positive feedback. We get a lot of surprise that horses are allowed in the park because there is a general feeling and a sort of a very subtle discouragement of horse riding in the park, which is why a lot of people think we're not allowed.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's due to the fact like there's just not everyone has horses, or there might be just some ignorance around horses and trails?
I think there's a lot of ignorance around horses and trails. I think that a lot of the people that work for the national parks feel that horse manure doesn't belong on their trails. And it's just an interesting thing because the people that live near the parks, we ride in the parks more than anybody else.
Okay.
On the one hand, they're trying to discourage us from coming. And if you're ignorant and you haven't read the regulations, you won't go because you've been told you can't.
This sounds like something that I feel like a lot of people, if you have access to public trails and you want to take your horses to, deal with, because I feel like especially we're in current state, there's a lot of people who don't understand how horse transportation works or safety around it, or, as you mentioned, the manure in my hometown. When we had an Amish group move in, it became like a huge uproar that there was manure on the streets. But through some education and like town halls, everyone learned to be okay with it at the end of the day. So I'm curious, Mary, like what solutions are out there? Because I know that a lot of horse people feel that sometimes the things that we love to enjoy, whether it's trails or, we see land being picked up that, used to be communal land for us to ride on. Like, what's the solution for people to bring awareness to this? Is it getting involved with their, local backcountry groups, the horse council? What do you think the solution is?
That's definitely part of it. But I think the solution is to be visible. Use the parks. You've got to use what you have while you can and be visible and be friendly and be an ambassador is the way I look at it. Because the less they see us, the less they think we belong there.
Yeah, I love that. I think the friendliness part goes a long way. And I think anyone who feels like the places that they love to take their horses are at risk, it is right. Using it more, having that presence. And I think there's probably a part of inviting others to go with you. Like there's power in numbers. And yes. How many times have we said, like, as a sport, as a whole, we have to bring the numbers in. We have to get young people involved with horses. We have to, get people to take advantage of what's here, because if you don't, you can lose it, right? Yep. So I think that's an easy thing that any equestrian can take on to preserve, whether it's your fox hunting land that you work with, those relationships with those landowners, your national park trails, if there's, local property that you can run shows or anything like that on, taking advantage and having a presence is huge.
Yeah. I think it's huge. And then I think also paying attention. You have to pay attention to every little thing, read every word of every proposal, but you have to pay attention to what's happening in the parks that you love.
Well, I like what you said about being an ambassador and being friendly and being kind. I know that is something that we had to work with when I lived up in Arizona, was just when people come, don't scream at them for riding their bike by, just explain to them and be an ambassador of horses. And Mary, I think that's great. I wish we had more time, but we've got to move on. But I thank you so much for coming on and talking about what's going on in your little part of the country.
Easy, effective, and eco-friendly fly control starts with Fly Predators. Fly Predators are the organic, natural way to dramatically minimize your fly problem. Learn more about Fly Predators and other Spalding Labs fly control solutions at Spalding, spalding-labs.com.
Time to learn why some days you're embarrassed to be part of the human race in Jamie's Weird News.
Yes, it's that time of the week for the weird news. Weird things just happen all over the world. And if you are reading the news in your area or anywhere and you see a story that you're like, whoa, that is super weird, email it to me, jamie@horseradionetwork.com, with weird news in the subject line. Now, doing things a little differently, Joy is going to participate in weird news as well. So I'll get it started, Joy, and then we'll bring you in to do your weird news story that I don't know. And I'm so excited to hear somebody else do a weird news story. Great. But I would like to thank Delia, Sarah, Debbie, Melissa, Becky. It was a good week. Becky, Michelle, Allison, Amy, Laureen, Rosemary, and Sherry, all for sending me weird news stories. So we're going to start with the first one. It's just crazy. It's a weird news story because this actually went out on the thing. But even weirder is that it happened. There's a town called Summit County, Colorado. If you live there, you should be ashamed of yourself. HOA members in Colorado called the police because they had to report something, a crime. It was a crime, Joy, a crime. There were kids with a lemonade stand. Oh my God.
How dare they?
I know. So HOA members in this town, Summit County, Colorado, called and tried to shut down the child's lemonade stand, calling the police. So the HOA goes out there. They're all like, the kids are blocking the road. And so deputies arrived and they were thinking there's like children in the road, like dangerous. The deputies arrived and they're like, they're not blocking the road. But you know what? We'll ask him to move back a little bit more from the road for their safety. Thinking that it was all settled, the deputies hop in the car and they're going to leave. Homeowners then come out and block the car and start yelling at the children, "You're on private property. You're on private property." So the deputies turned around and came back. Yes. And so then the deputies are like, they're selling lemonade. What is the deal? It's private property.
Serious.
Here's the thing. The police were like, their parents live here and they're part of the HOA, so they can be selling lemonade in their parents' yard.
Did they also ask to collect tax on these kids?
I know, right? Oh God, it's so great. So yeah, so there you go.
License, sir.
Good Lord. Like I've heard of, like, I worked with a guy and he put out his trash. This is like the perfect HOA exhibit. This is even worse. But he put out his trash in the trash cans. They rolled down to the street, and he put them in there, but you could kind of see one of the trash bags and he had white trash bags and you're supposed to have black trash bags. So he got fined $400.
What are the cortisol levels of an HOA leader, do you think? Do you think that they would benefit from a magnesium supplement?
I know, right? I'm going to say this quietly, but my mother-in-law is the president of her HOA. Moving on, next story. Next story. Okay. Go, you going to go?
I can go if you want, but why don't you keep this ball rolling? I need a minute to digest what just happened.
All right. Well, we're going to head to Jen. Where are we going to go? Do you want to guess for weird news?
Florida.
We're going to Florida. This is in Crestview, Florida. And a woman was put under arrest. I see her mugshot. It's right in front of me. And she looks like a Florida person. Why was she arrested? She was arrested for a misdemeanor animal cruelty charge and charged $70 in the death as far as petty theft goes. What did she do to an animal cruelty charge? Her roommate had a pet jumping spider, and I guess it kept getting out. And so she was like, there's a spider. I'm going to take it. And she drowned it in ginger ale.
I mean, again, I definitely thought this was going to be big cats. I was not prepared for spiders.
A tiny spider. And she's like, I know how to solve this problem of this spider who keeps getting out. I'm going to put it in a cup of ginger ale. And that made the news. And it was reported. And I'm bringing it to you because it was sent to me. So now you all know that a woman in Florida was arrested after she killed her roommate's pet spider by putting it in ginger ale. Thank you very much.
So many questions. Like, did you not know your roommate had a spider? And maybe, just maybe, your hobbies are not compatible to live together.
I don't think you guys should live together anymore. But again, she had her roommate arrested. So there you go. Let's see. Joy, your turn.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a complete left field and we're going to go across the pond for mine.
Nice.
So in Newmarket, England, Mary Jacobs, 77, bless her soul, is working on selling a collection, Jamie, a very special collection she's put a lot of time and effort into. Can you guess what Mary Jacobs might be trying to sell?
In a normal world, if this wasn't weird news, she would be selling art.
Well, in her head,
Trinkets.
It might be a form of art. It is her collection, prize collection of bedpans.
What?
Yes, bedpans that she tried to auction. And this had no takers. There was nobody who wanted Miss Jacobs' collection of bedpans. She had started collecting these bedpans in 1984, saying, I just wanted to collect something different. And it snowballed from there. She has 160 unique bedpan items, and she has run out of room to store them. The rarest ones, there are rare forms of bedpans, if you didn't know, are odd shapes that she noted, and she's hoping to find a new home for them and that they're clean, washed, and in fantastic condition.
Are they used because now maybe bedpans used to be really something special, but I mean, having spent several months in an assisted living facility, bedpans are not collectible. I wouldn't say I wanted to take one home with me.
No. So, good on her. I hope she didn't spend a lot on it. And I love that she has a passion, but it's not necessarily one shared by others.
You're so disgustingly positive. You're like, at least she has a passion for something. But I'm sure that's what her kids say about her too. They're like, wow, mom and her collection of bedpans, at least she loves something.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not what they're saying.
No. And the last one that we have, there was a carjacking, Joy, a carjacking. We're going to Des Moines, Iowa. That's right. A Des Moines man was running down the street and he decided to carjack. But what he did was different. So the driver of the car was driving down the road and his window was open. So this Des Moines man decided that he was going to dive. Believe it or not, there's no names on this, so I can't even give you their name. But it was on Court Avenue that happened. It happened because what time of day does the best stuff happen? 3:30 in the morning. So at 3:30 in the morning, there's a guy driving down the road. He's got his window down, and this guy's like, I'm going to jack his car. And so what does he do? He runs up to the car, sees the guy's windows open, and dives through the open window into the passenger seat.
No.
Here's the real problem is he was completely naked. So
I would need extensive therapy if that happened to me.
well, needless to say, the driver slams on the brakes and was like, "What are you doing? Get out of my car!" But he can't get him out of the car because he's having to reach over a naked man. And so what does he do? He jumps out. He says he gets out of the car, and it's, by the way, it's all on closed circuit TV. Like, so all this is on camera. There's a whole thing. I've seen all of it. The driver starts punching the man. Then because the driver was punching through the open window, that's when the guy in the passenger seat, the naked man, slides over to the driver's seat and whoop, takes off. I have to sell my car. I could not drive that car ever again. So he takes off. The driver, he gets run over. He's fine. He's fine. Minor injuries, expected to be okay. Police say they later found the car on East 6th and Court Avenue, and the naked man has been charged with second-degree theft and driving while barred. I don't know what that means, but hopefully it means he's a naked carjacker and he's going to prison.
I also think you're supposed to be like on a special list after doing something like that too.
Yes, you need to show up on some sort of list when neighbors move in. Your name pops up on that list.
Again, a lot of questions. Okay.
Oh boy. Thank you everybody for sending me the weird news. Delia, Sarah, Debbie, Melissa, Becky, Michelle, Allison, Amy, Lorraine, Rosemary, Sherry, and Joy for participating and including us in on the whole, if anybody out there wants to know where they can purchase this bedpan collection, email Joy. You know what? I hope everybody floods Joy's emails right now, joy@horseradionetwork.com, with questions about the bedpans. Please. You're welcome.
Send you over to Miss Jacobs myself. I'm sure she'd love to hear from you.
I'm sure she would. Jen, thank you so much for producing. Joy, thank you for being here. Glenn will be back on Friday, as will I. And everybody have a great, I'll let you know how Earlsboro treats me on Friday. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great weekend or a great day. Spay, neuter, and geld.